The morning sun painted Beverly Hills in gold as Clara Hudson adjusted her silk blouse and walked into the kitchen of her glass-walled mansion. The sound of clinking dishes echoed from her private chef's corner. Everything was perfect, at least it looked that way. Clara was the wife of Ethan Hudson, a celebrated CEO known for his real estate empire. To the outside world she had it all: wealth, influence, and a picture-perfect marriage. But inside, her home felt emptier by the day. Their daughter Lily had stopped eating properly. The family doctor said she needed comfort, someone who feels like home. So, Clara decided to hire a full-time cook and nanny, hoping a new face might bring warmth back into the mansion. That same afternoon, a woman stood nervously by the gate, Amelia. Her eyes carried stories of struggle, her hands were rough from years of hard work. She had no idea the address she was standing before would change her life forever. "Mrs. Hudson will see you now," the housekeeper said softly. Amelia stepped in, her heart pounding. And at that moment, fate quietly began to rearrange two broken lives. Clara sat behind the marble counter, tablet in hand, scrolling through Amelia's resume. She looked up briefly. "You've worked as a cook for families in Pasadena and Brentwood?" "Yes, ma'am," Amelia replied softly, twisting her fingers nervously. "Mostly private homes. I love cooking for children." Her voice trembled. There was something about it that made Clara pause for a second. A strange familiarity. But she brushed it off. Maybe it was just her mind playing tricks. Lily peeked from the hallway, clutching her teddy bear. When Amelia noticed, she smiled gently. "Hi, sweetheart," she whispered. Lily smiled back, the first real smile Clara had seen in weeks. Something inside Clara softened. "You start tomorrow?" she said, surprising even herself. Amelia blinked, almost in disbelief. "Thank you, Mrs. Hudson. You won't regret this." As she walked out of the mansion, Amelia glanced around. Every corner of the house, the polished floors, the scent of lilies, felt hauntingly familiar. She couldn't explain why. And upstairs, Clara stood by the window watching her new cook leave. She didn't know that she had just hired the woman who shared her blood and her past. The next morning, the kitchen filled with the aroma of something Clara hadn't smelled in years: apple cinnamon pie baked from scratch. Amelia hummed softly as she worked, her hands moving with grace and memory. When Clara entered, the scent hit her heart like a whisper from the past. "That smell?" she murmured. Amelia turned, smiling. "It's an old recipe. My mother used to make it on Sundays when we didn't have much, but we had love." Clara froze for a moment. Her own mother used to say those same words: "We don't have much, but we have love." She hadn't heard them since she was a little girl in a small Ohio apartment, before tragedy tore her family apart. She brushed the thought away and sat down. "It's lovely," she said softly. Lily took a bite and beamed. "This tastes like hugs." Amelia laughed, a pure, tender laugh that filled the cold mansion with warmth for the first time in months. Upstairs, Ethan watched through the glass railings, noticing how his wife smiled again. He didn't know that the woman responsible wasn't just another employee, but a long-lost part of her heart returning home. Days turned into weeks, and Amelia became the quiet heartbeat of the Hudson home. Her meals brought laughter to the dinner table, her kindness drew smiles from the staff, and little Lily followed her everywhere she went. One afternoon, Clara walked into the kitchen to find Amelia teaching Lily how to knead dough. "You press gently, sweetheart," Amelia said, guiding the little girl's hands. "Cooking isn't about money, it's about love." Clara leaned on the doorway watching, her eyes soft. "You've done more for this house than you realize," she said. Amelia smiled humbly. "Thank you, Mrs. Hudson. Sometimes I feel like I've been here before. Like I know these walls." Clara laughed lightly. "Maybe you were meant to be here." Later that night, as Amelia cleaned up, she noticed a family photo on the counter. A young Clara holding baby Lily standing beside Ethan. Her heart skipped. Clara's face looked familiar, hauntingly familiar. She tried to shake it off, but her dreams that night were filled with blurred memories of a crying child, a sister's voice, and a promise made long ago. And in her sleep, Amelia whispered, "Clara, is that really you?" The following morning, Clara joined Amelia on the patio for coffee, something she hadn't done with any staff before. The air was light, but Amelia's mind was heavy. "You've got a calming way about you," Clara said, smiling over her cup. "It's like you've known me for years." Amelia hesitated. "Sometimes I feel like I have," she whispered, her eyes distant. "When I first saw you, something inside me recognized you." Clara looked at her, puzzled but touched. "Maybe you remind me of someone too," she said softly. "Someone I lost a long time ago." Amelia's breath caught. "Lost?" Clara nodded. "My sister. We were separated after our parents died in a fire. I was adopted by a wealthy couple. I never found her." Amelia's heart stopped for a beat. Her hands trembled slightly, but she forced a smile. "I'm so sorry," she said, her voice cracking. That night, Amelia sat in her small guest room, staring at an old, torn photo she kept hidden. Two little girls holding hands in front of a rusted swing. The edges were burned, but one face was unmistakable. It was Clara. Amelia couldn't sleep. The city lights of Los Angeles glowed faintly through her window as she sat clutching the old photograph. Every memory she had tried to forget came flooding back. The fire, the sirens, the screaming, and the moment she was pulled away from her sister's hand. Her tears dropped onto the faded image. "Clara," she whispered, her voice breaking. "After all these years." The next morning, while cleaning the study, Amelia saw a box of old papers on the shelf labeled "Family Records." Curiosity tugged at her heart. She hesitated, then opened it. Inside, she found Clara's adoption papers, signed with a date that matched the very year of the fire. Her hands shook uncontrollably. Just then Clara walked in. "Amelia? What are you doing?" Amelia jumped, quickly setting the box down. I was just dusting, ma'am." Clara smiled faintly, unaware of the storm raging behind Amelia's trembling eyes. "You're too hard-working," she said kindly. "Take a rest." As Clara left the room, Amelia pressed her back against the wall, fighting her tears. She had finally found her sister, but how could she tell her? After all these years, would Clara even believe her? Amelia's days became a blur of emotions. Every time Clara smiled at her, it hurt, knowing the woman she served was the same sister she'd prayed for every night as a child. One afternoon, Lily tugged on Amelia's apron. "Nanny, Mom said you can join us for dinner tonight." Amelia hesitated, then nodded. That evening, the family sat around the long oak table. The laughter, the soft light, the sound of forks on porcelain, it all felt like the family Amelia never had. Ethan raised a toast. "To Amelia, for bringing joy back into this home." Everyone clapped. Clara smiled warmly. "You become family, Amelia. I mean that." Her words hit like a wave. Amelia blinked hard, swallowing the lump in her throat. "Thank you, Mrs. Hudson. You don't know what that means to me." Later that night, Clara found Amelia sitting quietly in the kitchen, staring at the photograph in her hands. "What's that?" Clara asked gently. Amelia froze, then whispered, "It's someone I lost." Clara stepped closer, curiosity flickering in her eyes, until she noticed the small, burned photo. Two little girls holding hands. One of them looked just like her. Clara's hand trembled as she picked up the faded photo. "Where did you get this?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Amelia's eyes filled with tears. "I've carried it with me my whole life," she said softly. "It's all I had left after the fire." Clara stared at the picture, her heart pounding. "That can't be this little girl?" Her voice cracked. "That's me." Amelia nodded slowly, her tears falling freely now. "And the other one is me, Clara?" For a long moment, silence filled the kitchen. Clara stepped back, shaking her head in disbelief. "No, that's impossible. My sister, she died." Amelia's lips quivered. "They told me you did. The fire separated us. I was taken to a foster home miles away. I searched for you for years." Clara's hands went to her mouth as tears welled up. "Oh my God," she whispered. "All this time, you were alive." Amelia sobbed quietly. "And you're my sister. I cooked for you. I watched over your daughter. I thought I'd lost you forever." Clara's voice broke as she whispered, "Amelia?" Their eyes met, and in that moment 2 decades of pain collided in one silent embrace. Clara's body shook as she pulled Amelia into her arms. For the first time in years, her heart felt real, not polished for public view, not shielded by wealth or perfection. Just raw, trembling love. "I looked for you," Clara whispered through tears. "I went back to that neighborhood when I turned 18. They said everyone from our building was gone." Amelia held her tighter. "I was there too, Clara. I was a street away. I thought you'd been buried." They cried quietly, the weight of lost years pressing between them. Lily, woken by the noise, peeked into the kitchen. "Mom? Nanny? Why are you crying?" Clara wiped her face and opened her arms. "Come here, baby." She lifted Lily into her lap and looked at Amelia. This woman is not just our cook. She's my sister, your aunt." Lily's eyes widened, then she smiled with innocent joy. "That means we're family." Amelia laughed through her tears, holding them both. Upstairs, Ethan quietly watched from the doorway. He didn't speak, he just placed a hand over his heart, realizing no amount of money could buy a moment like this. The house, once cold, finally felt like home again. A week later, the Hudson mansion was quieter, but warmer than ever. The scent of Amelia's cooking drifted through every hallway, carrying the taste of family and forgiveness. Clara and Amelia sat on the balcony overlooking Los Angeles, two sisters who had once lost everything but somehow found their way back to each other. You know, Clara said softly, smiling at the skyline, I used to think money could fix anything. But the truth is all I ever wanted was this, family. Amelia nodded, tears glistening in her eyes. Me too. I used to pray that wherever you were, you'd have a good life. I never thought I'd end up cooking for you. Clara laughed gently, wiping her tears. And I never thought I'd hire my own sister. Lily ran outside with 2 mugs of hot chocolate. For my mom and my aunt, she announced proudly. Clara and Amelia exchanged a glance that said everything words couldn't. As the city lights shimmered below, they clinked their mugs together, not as employer and cook, but as sisters reunited by fate and love. Sometimes life takes us apart, only to bring us home again. Subscribe for more touching stories.